that's an issue. That's an issue. What's up, everybody? Ryan here, out in Cranberry, Pennsylvania. Not near Pittsburgh, but near Franklin. I was just here this winter for the same store. I believe we walked right past this same unit, but today we have complaints of no AC, I guess. I walked around the store, I found one thermostat that the batteries were dead. Common was not wired. I did not pull it to see if we had enough wires. I just wanted to get up here, but we've got these allied units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I only found 7 thermostats. Whatever. See what we've got going on with these units. What a pain in the butt. I remember traversing this wall in the winter. This was one where I had multiple disconnects left off. Wonder if the same is going on today. I've got the analogs out for today because, as you can see, it's raining. I don't want to get my digitals all wet. So I've traversed the wall, got my tool bag. I'm gonna try not to put a hole in this roof or step in the mud. Ooh. And they have multiple roof leaks all over the store. I saw buckets. Look at this. How could you not? Anyway, I see a panel here that's half on. Well, I guess we'll just start at the front and work our way back and see what's working and what's not. Pain in the butt. Yeah, but this is certainly an issue. One screw up top. Anyway, let me start over here and we'll go from there. Thank you. See you soon. Have I mentioned that I hate working in the rain? Anyway, I'm just jumping them on and I'm gonna check supply temp. And if they cool and everything works, we're gonna move on. They don't have us do any preventative maintenance here. We literally only get service calls, which is fine, but I'm not gonna spend all day looking over every last thing on every unit. I've got other work to do today, and if they want preventative maintenance done, then they need to pay for preventative maintenance, in my opinion. This one's working, putting out probably 48-degree air right now. So I'm gonna simply jump them on, button them up, see what's working and what's not, and if there's any major issues, then we'll write them up. Like that. That contactor's starting to smoke, and I believe this one's not looking too hot either. I'm gonna shut the power off, pull the cover, take a look at the contactor. I can't tell if I hear a belt squealing or air leakage, but this one's gonna get a little bit of a look at, and I forgot to bring a pen and paper up here, of course. Back to the hatch. Got my notepad, got my pen, started compiling my list. Got Y1, Y2 jumped out. Hopefully she doesn't go boom. Hey, that's a good sign. Got 2 contactors written up on this. Let's go ahead and check supply temp. Like I said, I'm not getting super carried away. I asked the manager what issues they were having, which units, which locations, and they had no idea. So I'll just check them all real quick, make sure they all kick on. I'm gonna rate up to have all the thermostats hooked up with common and, you know, confirm that all that's working. But I kicked on each thermostat that I could find to blower and heard the blower kick on. This one, I did not find the thermostat for this one, but we got R and G jumped out. We're gonna troubleshoot that. Like I said, I don't have a full day to spend on all these units, so they're gonna get a quick yes they work, no they don't. Here's some things I saw right off the bat, but we really need a good one day on this to look everything over and look them over thoroughly. You know, what are you gonna do? So this one's running. If it gets a call from the thermostat, it is gonna kick on, putting out 48-degree air. Has a couple of smoke contactors and a belt that needs replaced. Filters too, I'm sure. I'm gonna write up filters, belts for everything, and come back and you do a full, you know, cycle of this unit. We are moving on from unit 8 and just gonna go to 7 now and do the same thing to each one and see what kind of major problems we have, if any at all. Well, this guy's gonna get a blower motor written up, new sheave. These bearings need greased. I'm not doing anything more than I have to today. They're not grinding or anything, but they're gonna get greased. And it looks like we gotta pull this sucker out to get to that second bearing. So just quick look and see what I can find. 3 stages on this unit. We'll kick it on and see what we got. Rotation on the blower is right. It looks like this one does not have enough for common to be hooked up. We've got R, G, W1, W2, Y3 is hooked up, Y1 is jumped, Y1, Y2. So this one will need a new wire pulled. I'll recommend it, but they're not, you know, probably gonna do it. So let me go ahead and jump out R to G, Y, and Y3. We'll make sure that all of these kick on and cool down. I'm not gonna be able to check supply air temperature on this one, only because of the style of the unit. Could try to throw one in here, but we'll see. There's blower, Y1, Y2, Y3, that's a good sign. They have refrigerant in them, otherwise the pressure switches would lock them out. Let me get this panel off. I was able to get it down into this. That on the other side of this wall is essentially the blower compartment, so it should be sensing that air temperature. And you can see it's down to 45 degrees. All my discharge lines are hot. All my suction lines are cold. I think we're good on this one for now. Unit works, and we will move on. Moving on. What a depressing, dark day. Freaking rain. Looks like the roof's all jacked up here too. I'm sure we'll get blamed if there's any leaks coming. Look at this. Look at this. Look over there. I don't know what happened here with this roof. Now we've got some smoked up contactors. Not horrible, but certainly got some pitting and some burns. So those are gonna get written up. Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. They're gonna get greased when we return. Blower motor's not horrible. Grease the bearings, belt. All 3 compressors kicked on this one. Nothing is on and off, on and off. This little step here. All the condenser fan motors are running. Well, I'm not gonna get too carried away with it. All right, well, this guy's running and working. So, just gonna move on to the next. All right, well, now we got something. Disconnect is off. Well, let's see why. These 6 fuses are good. These 3 fuses are all open, so let's find out what those go to. Betting the blower motor. Bad. Oh, good. Maybe I was wrong. Yeah, that one's bad. That one's bad. This one's good. So, let me do a little bit of tracing. Could be orange, brown, and then red. Goes right up here to this contactor. That's definitely going to be our blower motor. Spins, some bearing noise, but nothing crazy. I don't see anything going on with the wiring. It doesn't smell too bad. These bearings just need grease. They're making a little bit of noise, but I don't believe they've been greased anytime soon. So we'll write up to get those greased. I'm gonna start here at the contactor. Well, the contactor doesn't look horrible. Nothing's welded shut. Nothing is blown out, anything like that. right, so we have main power. We have 2 blown fuses through the contactor, through the overload, to the motor. I'm not getting anything shorted to ground. I didn't really test it here, only because they've got these bug connections, but I did test it right back here on the outside of the overload. My windings test good electrically. I have nothing shorted to ground and can't find any other electrical issues. If you look here, it's brown, orange, and red. Comes right through. The grommet looks nice. All the wiring looks nice. Another grommet here. Ow, that was my head. Zip tied up here. Nothing rubbed out, nothing shorted to ground. And everything looks good. The motor doesn't smell. Looks like the belt may have come off at one point, but a little bit of noise coming from the blower, but nothing I'm extremely concerned with. I'm gonna get a picture of the data plate on the motor and write up to come back with 2 fuses and further troubleshoot. Actually, I'm gonna write up to come back with 4 fuses just in case something happens. I know that they've lost power here. Our other service tech was out here to initially troubleshoot these units, and when he got here, the entire mall had no power, which I find hard to believe. With a roof that looks as good as this, how could the power have any power issues here? I'm gonna test the compressors, make sure the windings on them are good, and no electrical issues that I can spot without power at the condenser fan motors and stuff like that, and then I'm moving on. So further troubleshooting, come back with fuses on this guy. Well, circuit 1, which consists of compressor 1 and compressor 2, is standing at about 90 pounds of pressure. Compressor 3 and 4, which I believe is stage 2, is low. We only got 25 pounds of standing pressure. I'm gonna test all this stuff electrically and see whether they're even good, but it's looking like stage 2 is gonna need a leak search and repair. This unit is just kind of a nightmare. So we'll go from there. Oh, isn't that lovely? Isn't that lovely? All right, well, I'll try to get some of this shit out of here. Freaking mud daubers. We can test this compressor and see if it's shorted to ground or open windings or anything like that. I don't anticipate it having that, but we're gonna check. Okay, all 4 compressors test good electrically. Nothing is shorted to ground. I did check them at the contactors, but I figured just by the look of them, the condition and the rust, I figured let's give them a check here. So I can't run anything. Condenser fan motor spins. Oh, looks like it's loose. Looks like it's loose in the bracket, possibly spun. That's not bearings, that is loose in the bracket itself. Freaking wiring looks a mess in this thing. I don't even want to repair this thing. Anyway, I'm gonna get the information and filter dryer size, refrigerant type, and amount, and go from there. Doubt they're gonna approve anything. We've already had write-ups on this, and they never approve stuff. I mean, why would they? This freaking mall is a piece of crap. This store, I don't know. There's an Ollie's, there's this sporting goods store, and not a whole lot in the rest of the mall. So we gather the information and at least make it available to everybody and go from there. Well, the rain has stopped. I suppose I could lose this freaking raincoat for the time being. Watch, the minute I take it off, the rain will come back. Seems to be the way it goes for me. Anyway, okay. 1 layer off. All right, goodbye, York. Hopefully nothing gets approved and we never have to come back and see you again. Back to an Allied/Lennox unit over here. We're gonna just rapid fire through the rest of these and make sure they come on and work. That guy there's the only one calling. I think I set that thermostat down to 65 for some reason, so I'll have to go double check that and see. But boom, 1, 2, 3. Let's bang this one out, get these ones going, and go from there. That doesn't look real hot, and it was melted to the top of this one. Let me go ahead and turn the power off real quick before I get lit up. Freaking wires were melted to the tops of these compressors. I know they get hot, but the paint is coming off of this one. Oh boy. Now let me get a zip tie on that just so we can pin those wires up. Doesn't look like any of those melted through completely, but yeah, both of those were melted to the tops of these compressors, and this one, the paint is coming off. It looks like somebody might have replaced all these. All right, these two look a little smoky. I see some shenanigans going on with the wiring too. Looks like somebody jumped contactor coil voltage from K2 to K14, which is compressor 3, and this one's pulled off. They pulled the contactor coil wire for 3 and just jumped 2 to 3. Why? And why do we have so much paint removed from the top of this compressor? And look at the discoloration on our discharge line. See this? Looks relatively normal. Looks like they were replaced in 22. That looks like it's been getting awfully hot, and it's the paint is melted and the wires were stuck to it. So I'm gonna check this one and see if we've got anything going on electrically, and see if we've got refrigerant in it. I pulled off that jumper from second stage contactor to third compressor. It has refrigerant, kind of smelled burnt, you know, like a burnt oil smell. And that's that. I'm gonna kick it on and see if this thing runs. Looks like that compressor's getting awfully hot. I'm certainly gonna stand back when I kick this on. We're all jumped out. Stage 1, stage 2, no stage 3 yet. Check amp draw on stage 2. .59. All our fans are on. Suction line feels nice and cold on stage 2. We may have to just come back and double check things once the temperature comes up. Like I said, I'm not getting super carried away. I'm gonna mention that this one looked like it was getting hot. I bet you the compressor burnt out in the old one, and that's why I've got that acidy, nasty, burnt oil smell. But let me see if we've got any pressure in this guy. We may be off on a low pressure switch or something, but it seems to me like somebody else may have had an issue getting stage 3 to come on. That's why they jumped the contactor coil out to get it to come on. I'll write it up for further troubleshooting. Yeah, we've got pressure. Shouldn't really have to jump out one contactor coil to the other to get it to come on. And it's jumped out on the board, so it should kick on. I'll write up to further troubleshoot it. I'm not getting involved in it today. I think, I don't know, there's a do not exceed on this. I've probably exceeded. So that's what I'll write up to further troubleshoot, because that's what they're paying to get. They're not looking for definites here. They just want to see what works and what doesn't. All right, guys, this stage 1 was running. It's warm up here. Stage 2, it is hot. I wish I had my thermal imager up here. I'm not running all the way down to get it, but very hot. we're gonna further troubleshoot second stage. Look at that. Very hot. Well, this guy was already running on first stage, so I jumped out second just to kick everything on and see. The third compressor still has not come on. Wonder if we're having the same issue. I bet you these boards need set up somehow. All right, well, the compressor's kicked on. All our fans were running. I decided to check the blower, and oh yeah, that's an issue. That's an issue. So we'll be writing up a blower rebuild on this one for sure. Let me climb in there and see what I can find on the other side. Power's off. I did confirm it. Should just pull the whole damn blower out if I can get it, because some of these can be a bit much for an old man like me. What am I doing? Ring around the rosy with my freaking tool bag here. I bypassed that one and jumped straight to this one because it was running. I figured I'd take advantage of that. Feels nice and cool in here, but I don't know if a blower wheel has blown apart or a bearing is shot. Oh, man. That's as far as I can get it because the blower wheel's exploded. Yep. The blower wheel has exploded. This whole thing will need pulled out and rebuilt. See how many holes we can put in the roof while we do it. So this one's staying just like this. Yup, just like that. And I think I'll write up the blower motor as well. So this guy's down. Blower wheel exploded. Oh, hopefully I can get it pushed back in. Okay, well, that one's all buttoned up. Disconnect's staying off because the blower wheel's exploded. So we've come to the last unit here. Will it just kick on and work, or will there be more issues? I don't know. We're about to find out. And I'm gonna put my bag all back together. Oh, jeez. All right, the last unit, number 2. I worked my way backwards. Normally when I mark units, the number 1 is at the very front, but that's not the case here. Very front was number 1, 9. The one all the way in the rear was number 1. That one looks decent, except for that blower wheel. So let me open this guy up. I remember in the winter, this was one of the ones that the disconnect was left off. Well, we certainly have a lot of spider webs. He had a spider crawling away. The light was shined on him. We got power. I hear a humming transformer or something in. I do have a diagnostic light on the board. Just a heartbeat, so I'm sure it's just normal operation. Let's check this blower. And then we're gonna kick it on and cooling and just make sure it's cooling. First thing I found is no belt. And it sounds like crap. And I believe I wrote this up already once. There's our belt back here. Yeah. So, yoink. We'll rewrite up the motor. I hear clicking and things. Let's check this blower. Oh, I think that'll pass. I think that'll pass. That motor though, look at that, all these spare belts. So, let's go ahead and throw this belt on it. I'll gather the info and we'll kick it on. Hopefully it just cools and no issues, because they're gonna have the blower rebuild and whatever else I wrote up. Here we go. Yes. Yes. Finish this off strong. I like it. I like it. A bunch of repairs, a bunch of problems found that will be quoted for repair that will probably never be approved. Mark my words, I'll let you know if they send me back. I'm gonna check that supply temp, but for now, that's gonna do it. All right, guys, that's gonna be the video for now. If you liked it, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That'll notify you anytime I got a new video coming out. Leave me a comment, hit like. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next one.